Journal Night.
Evening, Drips. Hope you're all doing well. I never seen that coming, to be honest with you, but thankfully it did. Doug, you keeping okay, mate?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, mate. Doing fine. It feels weird. This is actually a positive post-match Rangers Journal podcast, which is it's great to see for a change. So will we just get stuck into it, mate?
Yeah, absolutely.
Aye. There was one thing I was just wanting to. Obviously, we've got the starting lineup here in front of us, and there, and I know obviously yourself and I think it was John you were on with ran over things before the game. Where is Lyle Cameron? Where is he? Is he injured or?
Yeah, well, John thought he was injured, and a couple of guys in the chat agreed. So I think he maybe had a knock. I didn't get a chance to actually see the press conference beforehand. So
yeah, I don't think he
know if
mentioned anything about it.
No, I don't. I'm pretty sure we'd have heard, but yeah, maybe it's just like a little thing. But
yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, we'll get stuck into it. Obviously, the kind of most of the pre-match headlines were about the demonstration outside the stadium to start with, and it looks as if, by all accounts, that has been done respectfully and peacefully by there. I'm not hearing about any kind of trouble or anything on the back of it. So, obviously, a kind of very polite message you put across. The fans aren't very happy at the moment. So well done to everyone that actually did the protest. They've done it in the right way. And hopefully the guys upstairs will listen. I'll come to you first of all on this. Obviously a win today, 2-0, pretty convincing. As much as we done our business, I thought Hibs were quite poor as well, to be honest. I don't think they were at their best today. Couple of kind of standout performances from them. But all in all, I think it was one that we were pretty comprehensive in our victory. But is this bought Martin enough time? Is it bought more time? Are you still in the kind of thought process that he's got to go?
yeah, I mean, I think I would put the victory under like this kind of solid but unspectacular. We weren't amazing, we weren't terrible. We kept Hibs at arm's length for the majority, but they did get their chances. And for once, we took ours, which was a nice change. In terms of Martin, I mean, for me, it doesn't really push the needle too much at the moment because, this was a cup game. So, it's got that added jeopardy. And, we've known for a long time that we've been a club and a team that has the ability to kind of raise our level a little bit for higher jeopardy games. And so I think, with this one and the next one obviously being a European match, I kind of expect them to play that a little bit better because the jeopardy is a bit higher. So for me, the real sort of test of, like, let's say we do well in the game midweek, the real test will be the next league game, which is it Livingston? That's before?
Mate. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So I think that will be, for me, that will be more of the test. Is that right? When you're back at the kind of plodding team type, the type of team we should be ideally beating with a little bit of comfort. And seeing, will they continue playing well there? And if by that game we see a similar performance to what we got today, for example, then I would be like, okay, now there's a sign that maybe something's changing. I don't think for most fans it will make the difference. That being said, because the problem is that where most people are now, even if he goes on a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 game run of wins, if game 13 he draws, immediately they'll be back to he's not the right guy. So whether it makes a difference in the long run, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here having my own wee kind of silent protest to it that I basically didn't go to the game today because I basically couldn't watch the standard of football that was getting displayed and what I was paying for, and it was affecting me personally. I really kind of felt as if last Saturday I went back on my bus. I didn't feel myself. I just felt so angry, and I didn't want to put myself in a situation where I didn't feel as if I was enjoying. You've got to enjoy going to games of football. And when you're coming away, you're absolutely furious and raging. You feel as if you wasted your money, you wasted your time. I feel as if there. But in saying that, I'm looking at that now. I'm feeling a bit silly about it, being honest now, because obviously it was, by all accounts, we had a good performance today. We've had a victory. On to the semi-final now, although somebody in the comments has mentioned it was a good 3 points. I hope he's taking the mickey when he's saying that. But we're into the semi-finals and we've got a visit to Hampden now to look forward to. So we're definitely in the hat for the draw. So looking forward to it. But we'll go on to the things there. Probably 15 minutes. Let me just grab my notes here, guys. Sorry, forgive me. 15 minutes. I think I'd made mention in the comments that I thought that Martin Boyle was going to be their biggest threat today for a goal. And he's missed a right good chance after 15 minutes, mate, where maybe in a different day he put the ball in the back of the net. I don't know if you remember, he's went through and goal. He's nearly round the goalkeeper. I think it was Bowie that was round the goalkeeper and he's laid it back to him and he's put it over the crossbar. I don't know if you remember that one, what your thoughts were on it.
Yeah, I mean, someone in the comments in the pre-match said we would need to be wary of Boyle's pace, and they were bang on. He had chances throughout in that first one. That's one of the ones that saying there they had their chances, and that's one that if he does better with that, maybe he puts it away. And he was a danger throughout the game. First and second half he had his opportunities, but luckily for us, he wasn't on for him.
Yep, and another day, last weekend, for example, the handball for the goal that he scored was obviously ruled out with intervention of VAR. And it's a shame because it's not as blatantly obvious, as a handball as it was last weekend. The one last weekend, the referee standing looking at it, whereas the one there, it's, come over his shoulder, he's controlled, he's taking it down, he's gained an advantage from it. And it just frustrates you that even obviously they've come out now and the panel said that it was a mistake, such there. But these mistakes can literally cost people their jobs, so it's a shame there. But obviously they came to the right decision on that. But where do we get to from there? Nico Raskin, the probably the name in everybody's lips at the moment. He gets his goal, which is a fantastic goal, very similar to his goal that he scored at Parkhead. I think it was last season. So it's great to see.
Absolutely, he's despite his sort of diminutive size, he's proven to be quite good with the old headers. And yeah, we've criticised Rangers a lot in recent years for poor set play. But that was a beautiful ball in from Tav. Tav has a tendency to kind of do the kind of higher ones that kind of go up and then dip into the box, but this one just absolutely whipped its way into the front corner and or front post, I should say. And yeah, Raskins makes the run, gets his head to it, and bullet header, and 1-0 up and feeling good for a change.
Yeah, it just shows you what we've been missing, not having the wee man in the team. He literally is the glue for the football team. And I was obviously quite vocal in my thoughts that we should be selling him earlier on in the summer. And I'm glad it's not transpired. And I'm even more happy that he's now found his way back into the team now. And hopefully all these silly differences are now put to bed and everything's behind it. Everybody focuses now for the good of the football club and the good of the team moving forward. I think it's probably the situation now that the past is the past. We can't do anything about it. As much as we're angry about it, and we thought, at the time that things should have been better. But we need to just now focus and just moving forward. We've got a huge game on Thursday. We need to start these European campaigns off. We've got an opportunity to play at home. We have to get 3 points on the board on Thursday night. It's vitally important overall looking at it. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're having to go to Porto in the last game to try and find points. So great to see. So Majowski, his first goal as well. An assist for Moore as well, which was nice to see.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll get that as an official assist. It kind of hits off the Hibs defender en route. But yeah, Moore had a bit of an in and out game today. It was an improvement from the week before, so that was or the couple of weeks before, so that was a plus. But so he was in the right spot that time to I think he was trying to take a shot and it's blocked by the Hibs player. But then sets up nicely for Majowski, and he does what a good striker does, and just knocks it into the goal. So it's good for him. Obviously, you want your strikers, I think, when they come in at any time to get off the mark quickly and get that momentum. So he was able to do that, and hopefully he'll continue to do so. Yeah,
there's a comment here coming from Mr. Baseman. He reckons that Moore should be sent back to Spurs team not to be good enough. What would your opinion be on that, mate?
I think he's not played his best thus far. I think that's fair to say. He's had moments, but he does need to show more. I think he's still. We do need to remember he's still an 18-year-old lad. So as much as he's from Spurs and he is very talented and he likely will go places in his career, he's ultimately the whole point of him coming to us is so he'll get minutes and get play and learn and develop. That's obviously why Tottenham have sent him here. So we'll need to. I think we'll need to, keep that in mind when looking at it. I mean, at the end of the day, if he doesn't perform enough, he'll not play. So But if we persevere, I think there is a player in there. I did see him. I watched most of Tottenham's European games last season, and he did have a lot of good games. So I think we can get something out of him. But yeah, he's not really at it yet. I felt in the game today, there was just points where like Tavernier was particularly mobile in today's game. It was like he was all over the place. It's like on the left side of the field at times, defending and doing various bits. And I felt like Moore maybe struggled a little bit to figure out where he needed to be in relation to that. Obviously, being the similarly right-sided player. But that's something that he'll learn over time. He probably hasn't played with a player like Tavernier who is very mobile around the pitch. So yeah, I think he's got a bit to learn. He's got a bit to go, but I think the main frustration is more for me is that if he wasn't playing, would we be seeing Curtis playing a bit more, which is something I would like. But I try and avoid kind of pitting the players off against one another like that. But yeah, I think we do need to see more of him. But I think we will in time.
It's just competition for place. I know that a lot of people are quite vocal that why we're developing somebody else's 18-year-old boy. We've got an 18-year-old boy of our own to develop. But, all it is competition for places, and competition.
Exactly.
It raises standards. And if you've got somebody that's sitting there on the bench who's dying to take your place off you, it's a sink or swim scenario. And ultimately, that's football at the end of the day. So, there's always somebody who's going to come in and take your place off you. It is going to happen to you eventually. Nobody is immortal in there unless you're Cristiano Ronaldo banging in goals at 40-odd-year-old. But they're obviously enigmas. So it's great to see the competition for place there. And it's only going to get better. We've still got guys that are still to come back into the squad. You've got the likes of Dujon Sterling still there. You've got a £3.5 million signing Fernandes, who seems to have disappeared off the face of the earth. Be keen to see him come back in at some point as well. And just again creating competition on the places there. So before we go into the second half, guys, if you wouldn't mind, if you would like and subscribe on YouTube, that would be very much appreciated. That's how the Rangers Journal make money, and that's how we buy equipment, we pay for software, and that's basically how the show runs. So if you wouldn't mind liking and subscribe, there's plenty of people watching on Twitter. As I can see, 246 on Twitter, but only 298 on YouTube. So come off of Twitter, jump onto YouTube, make us some money, please. It's appreciated. I've got no shame in saying that. Great. So into the second half, mate, came out as we were. I think the kind of first one, there was a handball incident there, but there was one that didn't really get kind of washed aside pretty quickly. I think it was Big Rocky there, but I think it was kind of deemed that his balls his chest. But Gassama hit the bar not soon after there. He looks dangerous, but he also frustrates me as well, mate. I think there's still just another gear for Gassama to go into.
Yeah, he's a little bit. Well, first of all, like you say, hits crossbar, which is good. He's got those shots in him. That's a couple of. I'm sure he's hit the crossbar about 2 or 3 times now, with that same kind of curling ball in from that side. So he's going to get one of them postage stamp at some point. I'll put my money on that. But yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. He can be a little bit what I was thinking when I was watching it. He can be a little bit head down and run with it sometimes, and I think some of the players around him are still figuring out how to deal with. Right, is he going to pass? Is he going to go? Like there was one where he gets the ball and he starts driving sort of slightly backwards and into the middle of the field, and then he just suddenly backheels the ball into what is space that he'd left behind him, thinking that Megoma would make the run around, but Megoma hadn't made that run. So I think there's a little bit there. That'll come with a bit more time and a bit more playing together. But yeah, I think that, as I say, he can maybe be a little bit head down, and players I think kind of are expecting him to shoot. And we were told that in advance when we did our deep dive with the guys from the podcast. Where was it? Sheffield Wednesday he was from. When we had the guys from their pod over, that was something that they'd said that he's much more of a shooter than a setter upper. So I think we might see that a couple of times. He'll maybe be driving and players will expect him to shoot, and then that'll be when he makes the pass. But he was dangerous and he caused the team trouble. And as I say, he does remind me of Kent in that regard. And that by having those driving runs and by just facing up to players and going at them, you cause panic, and that's only going to create chances for us.
Yeah, we've just got to get the ball to him as much as we possibly can. It's abundantly obvious he's the guy that can make the magic happen and stuff, and he's probably the player that we wanted Rabbi Matondo to be. If Matondo just
exactly
he's fallen off the face of the earth as far as I'm concerned. He's just going to pick up the last year of his wages and he'll disappear and he'll go to the archives, and I'm sure he'll end up picking up a job in the League One or something like that, and he'll probably never ever make the grade when it comes to football. But anyway, that's his problem. There was a goal line clearance just after that as well. I think there was a good bit of high pressing. I think we'd managed to, I think it was Gassam as well, just commenting him, he'd read a back pass towards the goalkeeper, managed to get himself in between, laid off a shot, and it was cleared off the line.
Yeah, I do think Mills should be scoring this one, but it is good defending though. At the same time, like you say, we're pressing high, and I don't know what I'm not sure which Hibs player it was, but I'm not sure what he's thinking, because it's like he's got clear daylight. It's not as if there's players in the way or anything, and he just, like as you say, knocks it straight into the centre of the box. Sam is like, okay, that's fine, I'll take that. Pops it back to Miovski. Unfortunately, as I say, cleared off the line. So should really have been 3-0, but I'll give the I'm not sure, it was either, I think it might have been Hanley. I'll give him a little bit of credit for getting across the goal and clearing off the line.
Yeah, definitely. There was an opportunity, I think, Miovski. There was a guy in the middle there, but I've got no problems with my strikers wanting to score goals. So the fact
he was right to shoot. He was right to shoot.
Yep, and I think it was an offside goal from Miovski in the 66th minute as well. I think it was pretty obvious it was offside and that kind of side of things. Yep. Took the VAR a wee well longer than I thought it was to try and sort out. I wonder if they were suspicious if the ball would actually come off a Hibs player before it went to Miovski.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see, the box tended to be pretty packed at corners, so there was quite a few times there was a little bit of sort of bouncing in the ball and ball scuffling about feet and things like that, and so they maybe, as you see, having a look at that. But yeah, clear offside. There was him, and if it wasn't him, there was another Rangers player a little bit further up as well, and standing on the same line. So yeah, no problems with that one.
See, the main thing for me is he's finished it himself, so he obviously doesn't realise, he doesn't know he's offside, but he's finished it. You know, he's done the right thing and put the ball in the net, and you know, we've seen a striker. Yeah, play the whistle. You know, I think there was one that Roof scored. I think it was Brøndby, maybe Prague a couple of years ago in the Europa League, that he looked a mile offside, and we got the goal for that one through the assistance of the VAR referee. So,
and with refereeing in Scotland, you never know.
Aye, but you know, I think that a chance like that, if it had been Dessers, I think that probably landed in the Loudon more than likely. You know, they're probably stuck up over the stadium. But anyway, Mikey Moore had a shot wide there. Then we seen Chermiti come on. He was unlucky. He went clean through and goal. I think that just probably just a lack of minutes, a lack of sharpness. With that one, it's an opportunity. Could have got his first goal for us.
Yeah, it was a close one. I think he didn't quite have the pace to get free just enough, I think, from the defender who kind of kept up with him. And so a little bit of that, and like you say, maybe just sharpness, but good opportunity. Would have liked to see him score, but yeah, see, one of those. We'll just chalk it down to lack of minutes and hope he gets better.
Aye, and then Paul's raised a point here about one that I think it was Ant-Man has scored. I've lost his comment, sorry, but here we go, it was there. Ant-Man was unlucky with the amazing run. I just about jumped through my TV when it went past the post. It was phenomenal. It was brilliant. You know, other players around the world have scored goals like that. Would have been all shown everywhere. So he's very, very unlucky with that one. I'd like to see Ant-Man starting Thursday. I'd like to see us go with him.
Yeah, I think, like I say, I think he's a good player. There's a great bit as well. I quite liked a totally nothing moment, but we got a free kick. Raskin had been fouled, and Raskin tried to take a quick free kick, but the ball hadn't stopped, so the ref called it back, and he'd floated it over to Ant-Man, and Ant-Man just like this beautiful little half volley pinpoint straight back to Raskin. I thought it was quite nice. But yeah, as I say, I was excited about Ant-Man coming up and ahead. I like to watch a couple of Eredivisie games, and he'd stood out because he'd been such a high assister in the league. He's really quick, and I think he, like I say, he's similar to Gassama, that when he gets the ball, he can really run with it. And there was a couple of times where we did get those decent balls in between the centre back and the full back, and he's running around to get to them. There was one that was offside, and then there was one that he got it, and he put a beautiful ball in that was just that little bit half metre ahead of Chermiti. Gassama picked up at the back. I think it went out for a corner eventually, but it was a really nice ball, and it's the type of ball that you're like, yeah, if he does that regularly, we will get goals from that kind of thing. So I think, you know, I would like to see him probably play more often, particularly at the moment, because when he came on, I do think he immediately looked a bit that little level above Moore. So I think form dictates for me that he should be starting as well.
Definitely. Now, Nico Raskin got the sponsors man of the match in the stadium. you happy enough to go along with that? I probably want to make a special mention for Cornelius. I thought Cornelius was excellent today. I thought it was a far higher level of calmness in the defence today. Even when we were knocking about the ball in the defence and stuff like that, there wasn't that kind of hot potato that I always felt, when we've had Jigga in there. I felt as if Cornelius really made a difference for the back line today, but you obviously want to go with Raskin as the man of the match.
Yeah, I'm totally happy with that. I mean, to be fair, I think everyone from front to back was just better overall. The whole team was calmer and just looked more on it. Like I said, the defence was a bit better. But I think Raskin was the obvious one that was really head and shoulders above the rest. He really drove the team on. He got on the ball. He was defending, and the next minute he was right up in an attacking position. Obviously, he gets his goal as well, and I think he's the obvious choice. I don't think anyone else really. Everyone else was good and about a similar level, I think. Whereas he was, like I say, he came in and he showed the manager, this is why I should be in the team. This is why I should be someone that you should build this team around, because I can make a difference, and he did today.
Yeah, there's no better way of doing your talking on the park for me. I thought the was absolutely superb. He was appreciated by the crowd. Everyone was singing his name and stuff. It's great to see, and it's only things like this. Positive body language, positive vibes. It's only going to create better things, and it's if your negative things are going to be bad, if your positive things can get better, so we need to try and get behind this. I know that it's difficult, and I'm still not convinced that Russell Martin's the right man for the Rangers job. If you'd asked me a couple of days ago, obviously me sitting here is an example of why I don't think that Russell Martin's the right guy for the job. But my head's a wee bit of a mince. I'm just a wee bit kind of euphoric just now in the fact that we've actually had a good performance and a good victory. So I'll wait and see what the kind of comeback of it is. I'll wait for the invoice for this good result, put it that way. See how things go.
That's it. And if Russell Martin wants to keep his job, then sorting out these issues that we've been having and these fractious things with your best player, that's what he needs to sort out. And if he can get Raskin on the pitch and playing like that regularly, that will help him win football games, which will help him stay in his job. Rather than having your best player, when he's up in the stands, and the play was different, and it's little things as well. There was a moment when we played, we had the ball at the back and we had to knock it about a little bit, and Hibs were pushing and pressing the players, and when you have that like little moment where you think a player's maybe about to nick the ball, but then you manage to make the pass and then another quick pass and then you're out. We sort of did that, and the crowd started applauding, and Raskin stood for a quick second and just gave a wee clap back as if to kind of reciprocate the crowd, but also the players around him saying, look, that was good, we did well there. And little things like that, that's the kind of leadership things that we've talked about in the past that we want to be seeing more of from players across the team, because we talk a lot about the teams of the past and having leaders from front to back, and that's what you want. Players all over the park doing their bit and showing leadership and helping one another, and that's how we'll get back to winning games week to week.
Yep. Now I'll ask you, and I'll obviously ask everyone to put their comments in as well. We'll go. I believe that Motherwell beat Aberdeen today, 1-0. St Mirren won last night. They had a couple of cracking goals actually last night. So when I've seen their highlights, it looked as if they had a good game against Kelly. And obviously Celtic are playing Partick Thistle tomorrow, which we would expect them to comfortably win that, considering who they're playing, the golfing budgets and stuff like that. Who would you want in the semi-finals? Would you take an Old Firm semi-final, or would you like to see that in the final? Who would your kind of preferred one you would like to see?
I'm tempted to say semi-final because I feel like we've done better beating them in semi-finals than we've done in finals, so that might work better for us. But I mean, as is the Rangers way, whoever comes, and that's just our job to beat them. I mean, obviously all Firm finals are always special. They just gives it that little extra on cherry on top of the cake if it's adding to the atmosphere and getting one over on your rival. So there is that, but I mean, I don't particularly care. As long as we beat whoever it is, then that's the main thing. But yeah, I'll say Celtic in the final, just because, as I say, that adds that little extra special bit, and beating them in the final would go a long way to putting that kind of marker down for the season. And if capital I, capital F, Russell Martin is still our manager come the League Cup final, then again, that would be a massive step for him if he's going to be the Rangers manager for any length of time.
Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to it. I'll definitely be getting a ticket for it, no doubt about it. I'll be there. I'm going to put my own agenda aside. I'm going to just basically, I need to give it back behind my team. I felt really guilty today. I was actually saying to the missus last night, it's a really weird feeling sitting at weekend not going to Ibrox, and it's kind of like a really religious person refusing to go to church. That's basically the way it felt. Very alien and very strange, refusing to go to Ibrox today. So I'm parking it. I'm going back. I need to go back and do it. So
it's a good analogy that you make, because for a lot of people, that's what football is. It is the kind of, you're putting aside the religious aspect of Rangers and Celtic. It is a kind of that is that kind of it is that kind of hole that it fills in that similar way. And I'm sure for you, it has that. It's like when, you know, when if you have a child that passes away and you're a religious person and you're having to square away the pain of that with your belief in God, and it's all part of the, you know, you're making that kind of, like you say, it's a catch-22 for all the fans that weren't there today, because you want to support the team and you love the team to death, and it kills you not to be there, but at the same time you're doing it because you think it's for the better long term. You know, it's for the better. What I'm trying to say, it's better for the club in the long term, which is the most important thing. So yeah, it's a tough one for everyone.
I'm going to get behind the team. I'm not necessarily getting behind the manager and the regime and stuff like that, but I'm 100%. I'm behind the team, and I want the team to win every single week. So I'm there. And as far as I'm concerned, as far as the semi-final, I'd love to stick one in their chin in the final, to be honest with you, right before Christmas, because January is a very important month in the league season. January is a month where it sets the tone, where games are won and lost. We've got an Old Firm game coming up in the new year, which I think is going to be at their bit this time round. Am I right in saying that? For the new year one?
It should be.
Yeah, it is. It's there for that set. So it puts that marker down that we get a bit of silverware into the cabinet right before there. And it's that psychological thing that we're right up there. So they're there to be beaten. Do you know that they're not doing great? They've got their own problems. And there's an opportunity here that we can go out there and just take it off them. So I'm hoping today's the start. And, I hope we're getting back up the ladder, and I hope this is the start of it. There's a possibility we might be bottom of the league by the next time we play. So as far as I'm concerned, the only way is up on that side of things. So
to quote Yaz, yep, that's it. I mean, I said it in the pre-match. I feel like that's a sackable offence in and of itself. To be more than 1 or 2 games into the season and be bottom of the league, it's just unbelievable. But yeah, I like you say, the only way is up. That's a good way to look at it.
That's it, mate. Well, we'll be round it off on that, mate. Let's just go up for half an hour. We're only supposed to do these for 20 minutes, according to the gaffer, so we'll get things rounded up.
Sounds good, yep. It's nice to, as you say, I've had a good game to look back on and a victory. So, yes, they've been too few and far between.
Aye, that's it. Well, guys, as I said, if you haven't liked and subscribed to YouTube, we're on pretty much every single night of the week. Sometimes we come on even when we're not scheduled to come on. So hit us at the wee bell you hit for subscription. We make sure you get a wee alarm just to let you know that we've came on live. So appreciate everyone tuning in. It's great to get a victory there. We're in the hat for the semi-final. Looking forward to it. All right. Take care, everyone. Every night is a Rangers Journal night. Bye-bye.